She reminds me of this every day. She tells me she's going to quit every day. And yet, from Hayward City Council to State Senate to now Congress, she has literally been a rock of every campaign we have run. She is the first to say, don't forget who you are and why you're doing this. And honestly, when they say no, we say, whatever, we're still going to do it. There we go. So thank you to Joe, Alex, Yvonne, Elizabeth, literally every single person that has worked with us and alongside us and took the hits with us. So thank you, and happy to answer a couple questions.
The race is still pretty close, but you're feeling very confident that you're going to be victorious tonight. Can you just expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, so the first batch of votes that come in are usually a little bit more conservative to begin with, right? We know this from history. We also know that, nobody expected AIPAC to drop in, $1 million a week. And they started very early moving money under shadow PACs, if you will, until everyone realized that it is AIPAC that is moving this amount of money. And so I have said many, many times, when you take a look at the millions of dollars that are coming into this race, unprecedented. Okay, I want to be very clear, unprecedented. Primarily because I am an Afghan Muslim American, and they don't want to hear from diverse voices like us, right? It is pure prejudice and racism, right? With that said, we know that the amount of money that has been put in, and I referenced to the $10 million total outside spending, and a good majority of that being in opposition to me and in promotion of my opponent, it does damage, right? It does harm your reputation. It does distort the facts. It does make a dent in this race. But at the same time, we saw that people were tired of the text. We knew that the way that they were running the campaign is they had nothing to stand on. They had no accomplishments. They had no achievements. They didn't work for the community. And so their best way to bridge the divide between our 26-point lead was to literally tear us down. And every single week you saw a new attack, a new attack, a new attack, a new angle. And of course, it's going to do some damage. But I do believe that the votes that are going to be coming in the next couple days until this is fully certified will strengthen our lead. And I'm very proud of the district and being able to see through the false ads, if you will.
That's right.
Yes. Anybody else?
Actually, I have one question. So can you talk a little bit about just the process? I mean, obviously you've had to go through multiple elections up until this point, but you have to do another one in November. Can you just talk a little bit more about that process for you?
I will say it's exhausting. I think the voters are also tired of genuinely having to vote over and over and over and over again. The amount of ads, the mail, things like that, it is overwhelming, and eventually people want to shut it down, right? This is a sleeper election because it is in the middle of summer. It is a special election. People are literally just starting school and making sure their kids, have everything they need, or on vacation and starting their routine again. So we know that there is a low turnout in this election, but we had the June 2nd primary. We had the June 16th primary. That was 2 weeks apart. That was very grueling. In fact, ballots dropped on top of each other in parallel, right? 2 weeks apart. So ballots dropped in early May and then mid-May, and people were confused what is going on. Some people said, especially with the redistricting of Prop 50, some people said, hey, I have a ballot for this one, but I don't have a ballot for this one. What is going on? So there was a lot of confusion in this, last couple months, if you will. I do believe that we're going to have continued confusion because we are moving into November, and that's post Prop 50 lines, if you will. And so I think that, at the end of the day, the voters have a lot to digest. For us, we also have to pivot. Every time you do a ballot statement, it's nearly $16,000, right? We don't have, a PAC that is funneling that much money into a district of this size. Mind you, the congressional district is smaller than my Senate district, right? I represent more people as a state senator than a congressional member, right? and the amount of doors that we have to knock multiple times, and phone calls and text messages and the advertisements and mail. So we have seen that, voter fatigue is a real thing. And I'm just, again, very proud of the voters here for turning in their ballot when they're like, dude, we already voted for you. Okay, so that's what we've heard on the campaign trail. Anybody else?
I do. Yeah. All right, so, this election usually is a much smaller one, but it's become a much bigger deal. And as you said, it's because a lot of the money that's been pouring into this. How do you feel being a part of a race that's really part of a larger conversation about the future of the Democratic Party? And now that you've won this runoff, it gives you a head start in the November midterm. I mean, what are you going to do going forward to try to shape the party in the direction that you think it should go?
I think in about 2 to 3 months of serving, we're not going to be able to shape the party's direction at all. We're probably going to just learn exactly what we're able to do in DC. My goal is to this district first and foremost. And so as a congressional member, being able to represent, first off, I want to say right now, the staff in the congressional office cannot work on any case that is coming to them today. So they cannot work on any immigration case. They cannot work on any type of healthcare or Social Security or anything case. We have talked to the staff, right? That is the first thing we want to do, is make sure that the constituents in the district is served with their actual casework. That's priority number one. Priority number two is that, the Democratic Party, and I think that many people have said this, both the Republican leadership and Democratic leadership has really lost its North Star, has really lost what direction are they going. And I see this time and time again, and it's not just DC, it is Sacramento as well, where, industry is so dominant. We see Citizens United completely corrupt our democracy, right? With the amount of money that they are putting in. When we are talking about literally the influence of industry over people. Democracy was always about people. People first. People's votes, people's voice, people's needs. And what we are seeing is people are more scared, especially elected officials, are more scared of what their donors are going to think. And I want to say this, the DNC is actually in the red. They have not been fundraising. They have not been able to secure the interest of young people and voters across this nation. But there are a handful of electeds that have. They're sitting on a big pile of cash because they are actually walking away from the traditional way of being a elected official. And I think that's important to really highlight the disparity between those that are actually doing the good work and trying to have a vision for America. And the United States, ask the Democratic Party, what is your vision? Is it Medicare for all? There's no answer there. Is it housing is a human right? There is no answer there, right? And this district does care about people. We want to ensure that we are bringing people under the tent of the Democratic Party, not pushing them away because we don't necessarily agree with their ideas. I will say that I hear oftentimes where people talk about Gen Z and how their ideas are naive or idealistic. And they're on the right side of history. Every single time it was the young people of this nation that moved all of us to do the right thing. Whether we're talking about wars, whether we're talking about healthcare, whether we're talking about housing. We see it over and over and over again. And one example is very simple. We bailed out pretty much everybody, whether it's the big banks or industry, ensuring they don't collapse even though they're monopolies and much more. But we won't cancel student debt. We won't cancel healthcare debt. We won't allow people to live in dignity as they age. Seniors are worried that they won't have their Social Security. Which party is tackling that? First and foremost, again, the American people are the ones that are suffering.
That's right.
Woo! Do we have any other questions?
Thank you all.
Thank you guys.